Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the Making It With Purpose podcast. Yeah, we've been doing this for a few months now.
Just a few.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, I feel like we started and it felt like, oh, it's only 1 or 2 episodes. And now, like, I don't know, 14th episode, 13th. I don't know.
I don't even know what episode we're on.
Yeah.
But anyways, John and Marc here, Making It With Purpose podcast, brought to you by MakerFlow. And I'm going to call John today Mr. Creamsicle. What was the inspiration with your outfit today? I got to ask.
I always like orange, and I always wear the same, like, blue jeans, and I figured let's just throw everything off.
I mean, I didn't get the memo, bro. If you said white pants, I would have been game.
No, that's exactly the point.
we always wear black pants. We already had a branding workshop, and here you are with the white pants throwing everything off.
Listen, one creamsicle is good enough, all right?
Guys, welcome to the podcast. Today's podcast is one of our podcast workshops. And so this is our third podcast workshop, and today is all about sales. The first 2 podcasts that we had with the workshops, the first one was branding, the second one was marketing, and then this one is sales. So there are worksheets that go along with these podcasts that we recommend that you download and have those with you as you rewatch this podcast, as you're watching this live. That way you can work through the sheet with us. If you're watching live, feel free to drop questions in the chat because we will be answering live questions on the chat. One of the benefits of when you're joining us live, you get to interact and maybe get one of your questions answered. So let me read you the rules of the game. To get the worksheet, what you need to do is you need to DM the MakerFlow account on either Instagram or Facebook. Just DM the word Get Sales. That's GETSALES. And then we will give you the free worksheet that goes along with this podcast.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I've been doing sales since I was probably 13, 14, 15, starting without a brand, without marketing on Craigslist, right? And then I was actually, if any of you guys know, I was with Vector Marketing doing Cutco, where I was selling warm and cold selling super expensive kitchen knives, right? And now we're here. So I could say I've been basically selling all my life. And so I'm really excited to talk about the third topic.
All my life. Well, the first 2, guys, if you want access to the first 2, let me give you guys information on that. You can DM us the word branding for the first one, and then you can DM us the word marketing for the second one. And once again, that's on the MakerFlow Instagram account or the Facebook account. If you don't have an Instagram or Facebook, you can also go on the MakerFlow website. At the bottom of the website and find it there too. But DM us, that way you get access to communicating with us anytime you want.
Yeah, I will say that if this is the first time you're watching and you're watching the sales one, watch it. It's totally fine. But definitely make sure that you go and watch the other 2. It does work in sequence. So if you watch 1, then 2, then 3, it all comes together. So it is like a Star Wars sequel, part 1, part 2, and part 3.
I mean, really, if you're starting your business off, or maybe you're redoing your business, or maybe your business is you're just lost and you don't know where to go. If you go through these 3 workshops, you're going to get on a really good track, on the right track, and hopefully grow your business and see where it goes. And if you guys like these types of podcast workshops, make sure to let us know in the comments because we can do more of them if you guys like them. So hopefully there's some positive feedback about it because we got maybe some more up our sleeves if you guys want more.
Yeah. So with that, let me tease something. And I know you want to tease it, but I actually kind of want to tease it because I think it's kind of cool. But we were doing a part 3 series, right? And you mentioned something and I didn't even think of it because I thought the 1, 2, 3 was perfect, right? If you're starting a business or you're in business, you feel like there's 155 different topics you can talk about and how to grow your business. But the whole idea of the series was to kind of just break it down, slow down, and focus on 1, 2, 3 things. But we were in the office together and you mentioned to me a 4th part. And I was like, oh man, here we go. We always have a plan.
And then I had a 4th and a 5th and a 10th.
Well, you did, but you have a 4th one and I love the 4th one. So I just want to say that there's going to be a 4th part to this. So this is actually not 1, 2, and 3. Marc and I, if you don't know us yet, which our internal teams do, nothing ever goes to plan. So there will be a 4th part to this. And the 4th part, the 4th part of this series is probably the most integral part. So it's where I think most businesses struggle. And it's where when you start your business, that's where most of your costs ends up going. And so we will have that 4th series. And it's a huge part of MakerFlow and what we do. And I can't believe I didn't think of it and Marc did. So I'm really glad you did because I think it's probably one of the most important parts when you're running your business. So with that being said, we'll leave it kind of a mystery on what the 4th part is. We'll let you guys know, later on what the fourth part will be. There will be a worksheet for that one as well. When we were building this worksheet, we were kind of blending the fourth one mistakenly because it's kind of part of it, but it's not. And so we kind of tried to keep as much of that out of
go
here
a bit deeper
to focus on it on the fourth part, which is again extremely integral and a big part of how this goes from like a triangle to a wheel and goes in circles. So I'm super excited about that. But with further ado, I don't know if you have any other announcements, but we can get right into it.
Yeah, no other announcements. Like I said, the branding one was really how your business speaks out there to the public, and your brand voice and your brand colors. So the branding was kind of that theme, and then the marketing one was how do people find you? How do they come across your business, and how do you market your business? And now we've got the Maker Sales worksheet, and this is all about turning trust into customers and really asking for the sale, getting the sale, and then getting repeat sales, right? So let's dive in. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Mr. Creamsicle.
Let's go. Oh, you're really into that, huh?
I like it.
I'm about your creamsicle
I'm a little
tonight.
jealous. I could go for a creamsicle after this.
Before we get started, Sam, do we have any questions?
Everyone's really excited to be here. They're all said that they enjoyed the last series. People are encouraging them to stick around and watch this. If you have hands, go back and watch the others later. So everybody's really on board. Make sure you guys throw your questions in the chat. We're happy to answer for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Well, let's get started. So I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna give you the questions. Okay. So the first part of sales. By the way, I've loved sales all my life, and it's really been a part of like I would say like half of my life now has been sales, and I absolutely love it. And so as we do this is like very close to me, doing sales, because there's like one being a salesperson, and there's something else which is like actually selling, and it's like two different things. And I hope I don't come off as a salesperson. Like I'm not a salesperson.
Those are the best salespeople, or the ones that don't consider themselves a salesperson.
Right. And that's
you just like people. You like talking to people.
Yeah, exactly. I like to like know who you are, what you do, like, and really like make sure I'm helping you and not selling to you. Right. And that's a big part of it. And that's why I love, sales so much. But anyways, the first part of this episode is, the sales mindset and, how you build relationships, not pressure. And I absolutely love this, because that literally building relationships and not pressure that's it. Like as far as those two categories, right? One being a salesman, and one's being just, the person that builds relationships and eventually gets the sale because they build trust, right? So on this part of the worksheet, again, if you're new, I'm just going to go over this real quick. If you have the worksheet, you know kind of how it works. The left side is for you guys to fill out, and what Mark and I have done, because I hate when you get worksheets and you don't know what to put. Like it's asking a question, but you're like, what are you asking, right?
Yeah.
So on the right side, Mark and I have actually given questions based on answers, because I saw the questions, but because that is the question. But on the right side where it says Maker Flow example is how Mark and I would actually respond to the left side. That way it gives you guys a little bit of context on what to kind of expect, or what we were expecting. And so you can actually, follow through and do these worksheets. Also keep in mind that the space that's given to right here, if you're on the computer, like take the space. You don't have to, adhere to, you don't have to adhere to that spacing. So just make sure that you're taking your time, you're writing the questions. Mark and I really do our best to keep it concise. Don't convolute it, right? So you'll see our answers, they're short and they're to the point, and make sure you're doing the same. So Mark, with that being said, let's talk about number one. Again, the sales mindset, building relationships, not pressure. So the first question we have on here is, what are the 5 key questions that help you understand a customer's need before making a recommendation?
Now, there's no just exact 5 questions that we're looking for. There could be 50 right questions that somebody could put into this. So it really comes down to you and what you want to get to know from your customer. But ultimately, this is about building relationships. And we've talked about this in the past, that in our previous podcast, that people want to do business with people that they know, that they like, and they trust.
Yes.
Right? They don't know you if you're not marketing. How are they supposed to get to know you or come across you if you're not marketing yourself? And then they got to be likable. You both have to be likable and have to like you. And if you're not branding yourself and putting yourself out there, and if you have a faceless company, then how do you build that relationship if you're not showing yourself, showing your team, showing, your face on your business. And then the trust factor, reviews and building up your score online, those things, the trust, know, like, and trust is how you build relationships.
Yeah.
And once you've kind of done that, then that helps you help somebody make that confident decision.
Sure.
So when it comes to like a personalization business, some of the questions that can help you understand your customers' needs are, asking simple questions like, hey, who is this for? What is the occasion of this gift that you're needing? What's your budget? What's your budget look like? Maybe it's a bulk order and they need 100 items for an event. And they're just, they ask you for one thing, but if you really understand the budget, you can then maybe propose other opportunities for them that they might not have even thought of.
Yeah.
So those are some great questions that just come to my mind immediately that I have.
Yeah, I think a more recent example, like for me, and you're absolutely right, understanding what your customer wants is so important. We just had somebody that wanted a large quantity of journals, and they were debating whether to go for cheap journals or whether to go to this. And we found out that they were making this for an executive team, right? And they were like, hey, this is for an executive team. They were talking about how this journal is going to do this for them and that for them and bring in these many sales, and these journals are so important, and this and that and this and that. And then they're trying to negotiate the price on our MakerFlow journals. And I was like, wait, so you're telling me that these are going to executives and you're willing to give them $2 journals, and MakerFlow has leatherette journals that are priced with the gift box, with this, with that, and then you're talking about getting $12 million in business, and you're gonna fight over a $3 or $4 delta on a 150 journal order. And I was like, this doesn't even make sense. I'm like, just count me out. Like count MakerFlow out. Like we want you go with the cheaper option, right? Yeah. Say no. And he was like, wait. I think I can make it work. It's like, and I told him, like, I was like, listen, based on what you're telling me and what you're asking me are two different things, right? Yeah. And I set him straight on that. I'm like, if you want the premium stuff, that's why you called me, but I'm not going to negotiate down to $4. Because I mean, it's a leatherette journal. It's expensive, right? And I'm not gonna sacrifice my margin just because you want to save $2 on a $12 million contract. It makes no sense. So understanding your customer, sometimes you're even saving them, because he kind of stepped back and he was like, wait, yeah, you're kind of right. Like, let me. Yeah. He's like, let me go back and like, yeah, I might want to go with the leatherette one and then he goes, oh yeah, yours comes with a box and foam, right? And guys, this is where I was like, I didn't even mention that. Right. And this is kind of what marketing is about, right? I'm like, yeah, that's part of our branding. MakerFlow branding comes with packages, right? And if I didn't market that right, that's MakerFlow's fault that it comes with packaging and foam. So this is how the series adds up, right? This is how we have branding, and that's why you branded it with packaging. We have marketing. I didn't do a good job of showing him. And then we have sales. I'm trying to figure out what he wants. And if I've done all those threes right, there's enough trust that I don't have to actually even sell. And at this point, I'm willing to say no, because our branding, we know what our branding is. We know what we stand for. Yeah. And I know that our whole here is that we didn't market the product right, that they had no idea that it came with the box. So anyway, that's a whole different thing. But
yeah, what I got out of what you just said was really what came to my mind is you're asking these questions to really understand your customer,
correct,
but to weaponize yourself for comebacks to help really resolve that customer's pain point in a good or a bad way. For you said that, hey, you might not be my customer based on what I know. I'm telling you where you should go. And if you don't want to go that way, then hey, you're not my customer. That sounded like you weaponized yourself by dissecting these questions beforehand.
Yeah, but I think it's exactly. But I think it's also a matter of respect too, right? Because now they know that, okay, well, this guy has quality product. He's not willing to budge, and he trusts his product.
That's true.
He knows his product, right? And it's okay, guys. And I'm willing to not get the order, and I'm willing to let them know, like, hey guys, we have premium stuff. When you need the premium stuff, you can come to me, and I guarantee you next time there's not going to be negotiation, right? And if I lose this customer, it's okay. Why would I lose my profit, and why would I lose money on a customer who's always going to negotiate and never meet me halfway? So, these are, you don't want to keep F clients, you don't want to keep D clients, but understanding your customer really helps you not only understand the customer, but help your customer. And then at the end, help you, because guess what? We're not doing this for free, right? Let's be honest. Yeah. It is great like that. Yes, we're talking about asking the customers and understanding the customers, and if you understand the customers, but you're giving the farm away, like, then what are you going to get left with, right? So it kind of goes both ways.
You
with
get
that.
left holding the bag, paying your bills with no profit left.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like,
a terrible
where'd the
feeling.
profit go? Like, oh, I gave too many discounts away.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't stand my ground when people were asking for discounts.
Exactly. And the client will keep coming back, and every time you quote them, they're going to be like, well, you know, last time there was that deal going on, or last time there was that discount.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You make one exception for one customer, the next time they come back and buy, they're going to be expecting a similar deal and some sort of negotiation. And it's just like, you have to go back and remember like what you were talking about to that person. What deal did you offer them? It's so much easier when you just have like a pricing laid out, whether if for singles and bulk pricing, and you just stick to that.
Yeah.
And you stick to that because that way you're consistently talking to all your customers year round about your pricing.
Yeah.
And then just update it once a year, maybe twice a year if needed. There's been a lot of fluctuations in prices, but once a year is what we do, is just we look at updating our prices and then we go from there. That way, if you have a customer that buys once a year, you know, like, oh yeah, they bought last year. Maybe this year there's a slight price change. Let me go back and check what they paid.
Yeah.
But that way it doesn't get too complex, and you gave some customer a special offer, an extra 10% off, because they're going to expect that going forward.
Yeah. And again, with all these stories, the answer to that question, there's a lot of questions you can ask. The main thing is asking questions so you help your customers the right way. It's not only that you're asking these questions for no reason, meaning you're just asking to create a conversation, but you're asking these questions so you understand your questions. And your job is not to give a product. Your job is to solve their problem, whether you get the order or not. That is more important. That's sales, because you're building trust. If the customer trusts you that they have your best intentions in mind, they will come back. And I think that's the important part about that section.
Yeah.
So
now the next question we have on here, that guys, we're on part one, the sales mindset right now. The next question is really just a personal level one. It's like, what are the questions? Write down 2 questions that you're going to ask your customer to connect on a personal level. So this is really how you dive deeper. You really get somebody to like you, right? But doing this like honestly, right? And not just doing it just to fake it, but really trying to connect with somebody on a personal level. Like, what are you going to ask them? You know, for me, like, anybody can connect with me. Like, if you talk about sports, you know, like you get me talking about sports.
That's his weak spot. That's his weak
spot. If a
spot.
salesperson knows I like sports, and then boom, they got that hook on me, I'm like, okay, I like this guy. Like, he likes sports. I like sports. Like, we're cool. I'd rather buy from him rather than this person, because this person doesn't like sports, you know? And it could be that simple. Find something that you can connect on a personal level, and that might be the difference maker.
Absolutely. Yeah. A funny story about that. If we're ever in a meeting with like a customer or client, and if ever U of A comes up, my ears always perk up, because I know Marc will give away the farm for anything U of A. If he gets bribed with U of A, we are screwed. So whenever somebody says, oh my God, I love U of A, I'm like, oh God, I have to pay attention, because I don't know what he's going to agree to. But yeah, this is actually one of my favorite questions. I truly like this question because I love asking folks like who they're making it for, what reason they're making it for. And what I like to do is to make sure like whatever product we had in the past, like one of the most viral products we ever had was the card box. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I used to love doing the card boxes, because the card box gave me 5 different faces of a cube card box to design on. Well, the problem was that it was a lot of designing, but my God, I love designing.
And you started doing the bottom and the top.
And I'm like doing all these crazy wicked designs. I'm suggesting this, I'm suggesting that. The customer's into it. And it was great because we made an awesome product. And the customer, like, as I was suggesting these designs, the customers, like, they were adding the value. They felt like they were picking, and they're like, yes, I want this engraved. Oh my God, that's a great idea. I want that engraved. At the end of the day, like, we both were so happy with creating a product, and they were happy to pay the extra fees for the product, right? So instead of forcing them, like, hey, instead of going to somebody and saying, hey, you know, I have this box, like, you can get like one-sided, but then if you get the second side, it's $15 more. And the customer's like, well, I don't want the second side. Yeah. But if you truly understand what the customer wants and what their intention with the gift is, then you can design something. It's like satisfying to you that you design something that they love, and they actually enjoyed paying for it because they felt like you, both of you together, added this great value and made this great product.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that more than once in our business where we've been able to do that. So speaking with the customers, asking the right questions, like, when do you need this by? Who is this for? What do you intend? where do you intend this person to keep this product? Are they going to use it every day? Are they going to put it on the wall? How is it going to be gifted? Are you traveling with it? I mean, all these questions will give you an idea. All these questions will let you help the customer make a better decision. And again, you can use this as a weapon, right? In a bad way. And I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying genuinely speak to the customer, because honestly, even if you are buying a gift for somebody, you could go to Apple and they could say it's $15 to engrave the back. You should get it. And you'll be like, yeah, I don't want it. And they could force you. And you'll be like, I don't want it, But if you add something meaningful, you're willing to pay the $15, right? So if you're going to upsell it with intention, upsell it with the intention that you're doing something good for them and that they really want that. And when you make that happen, it's like one of the most satisfying gifts, and you've increased your order value.
Yeah. It makes me think of the scenario I had last weekend at the church that I've been going to.
Yeah.
And I had already built a relationship with this guy on a personal level, and he had no idea, what I did and the products that we sell and stuff. And he was, they had a big merch day and stuff at the church. And he was standing there on the computer, and I was like, oh, are you running the show here at the merch, selling the church gear? And he goes, yeah, I run this. I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, oh, did you know, like we sell a lot of these products that I could get them for you, and he's like, what, really? And, and I just said to him, it was like a non-pressure thing. I said, listen, I'm not trying to take anyone's business, but if there's any value I can provide to you and the merch, then I would love to have your ears and tell you what we can do.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just a total no pressure situation. And it just the way that he was kind of put at ease, like, okay, this guy's not trying to like hard sell me. He's just trying to provide a solution and see if there's any opportunity to help out. And he was all ears and setting up a meeting to talk soon.
Yeah. And I know that you knew that the church has been trying to do some kind of merch something, and then this was like the first time they were trying it, so that he needed help. And you were kind of, in a way, you could possibly be somewhat of a savior, right? Yeah. In a way that you came up with Makerflow has some cool merch, and like the journals.
Yeah.
What a great idea for someone to take notes during service,
Yeah.
And
so who knows? Now you go into your church and they got an X tool there and some Makerflow product, and your church might just whip something up for you.
Live selling and great
Yes.
blanks. Yeah, absolutely. I think I think I love that part. Asking this, having that conversation. And if anyone has met us at Next Level, we're talkers. So we love to talk. We love to show you, and we'll do more of that. And then you'll ask what the price is, and we don't know the prices. So, and one thing you realize about this whole packet, we don't talk about prices. So selling has nothing to do with prices. That's an exaggeration, but honestly, this whole worksheet has nothing about discounts, has nothing about pricing. It has nothing about that. So there's a lot to selling aside from what you charge, and understanding that is probably the biggest part about sales. All right, cool. So the last question that we have for this section is, you answer this one because you were so hyped about this. Okay, so Mark has a not question. That's what I like to call these. So why do customers not buy from you? Mark, why is this question important? Why do customers not buy from you?
Yeah, I just love these like negative questions and just thinking in the total opposite realm of that you normally do. Because if you ask yourself, why do customers buy from you? Well, that's easy, because this, and that. But when you ask it a different way and you say, why do customers not buy from you? It makes you pause and think for a second, right? And so I've just been on this like not kick lately, and everything I've been doing is like not this, not that. But what I wrote down for this question, and could be some examples for makers out there, is maybe they don't understand the product. Like maybe they're not buying from your shop because they just don't understand the product. They don't understand what it does, what solution it provides. You're not selling the solution. You're just selling a product.
Yeah.
Right. The other one I wrote down was that it could be a confusing ordering process. So if you're selling like online, maybe on a marketplace, on your website, and especially with customization and personalized products and things that they can pick and choose, if your process of purchasing is confusing and there's maybe too many options, or the options don't make sense, that could your optimization could just is tanking, and you're not going to have a good score on that. So make sure your processing and order processing is smooth. And the last one I wrote down was your production might take too long. Maybe they don't know what your production time is. They have no idea this custom product might be done in 3 hours or it could be 3 weeks, you know? So make sure you're clear on like your processing times, your shipping times, and your options to customers. Those are just some ideas to get your brain going, but just really sit down and ask yourself, why do customers not buy from you?
Yeah, another exercise you can do is go to a website that you just don't like, and just be like, I haven't ordered from this website, and go through the process and be like, why don't I order from here? You know, what do I not like? Because whatever you don't like is probably the same thing
Yeah.
the other customer doesn't like. And I think oftentimes as business owners, we forget that we do know the answers. It's just that we don't like to see it because we're personally connected to the business.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell yourself that I don't like, my production time, because if you don't like your production time, well, you got to make it faster.
Yeah.
And I know you don't want to make it faster and work more, right? Because and that's just the reality of it. There's so many times that, like when we made the not list, like I don't want to write these things down because I
Yeah.
know that we have to make it better, and it's a lot of work to, for us to make these things better. It's a lot of work. And believe it or not, today we like knocked off like I think a couple of these things, which was incredible. We got a lot done today in decision wise.
That's right.
For MakerFlow, which it's crazy how things
We're just eating frogs left and right, bro.
we've been on a run for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's been great. But I think the not question is great. And I think writing that down, it should be humbling, and we should definitely you should definitely make sure that you do that exercise, the not exercise. I really love that exercise. And if you don't know, then just straight up ask somebody that hasn't bought from you. I think that's one of the most underrated things, is just asking.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of folks like don't understand the power of just asking. Even when you don't feel like, even when you're nervous and you're like, man, I don't know if I should, just ask. You'd be so shocked how many people are willing to just tell you, like, hey, and I've done this with Make. Like, hey, I'm just wondering why you didn't order this from me. And they're just like, oh yeah, it's because of this reason. I'm like, what was I afraid of? I should have just asked.
Yeah.
I should just ask to begin with. It was so much easier, And I feel like you could definitely figure out the knots. If you can't figure it out yourself, you can figure it out that way, why they did not buy from you.
Yeah. Just ask your customer that. What made you not buy this from me? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised. It really put your customer at a pause. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think about that for a second.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Guys, at the bottom of the each part here, we have a couple of tips. So we have an insider sales tip, and also kind of like a MakerFlow lesson learned, and something like personal that we went through. So make sure you guys are going through those as well. So on this part one section, the insider sales tip is, instead of pitching every product you offer, right? Maybe you're at a show and a conference, and you have just so many products there, and you're just so excited, right? You want to tell the people that are coming up to your booth or your table about everything real quick. But you're not really understanding the customer, and really what you should be doing is asking them questions like, hey, like what are you looking for? Like what's the occasion you're shopping for? And
how soon do you need it?
Yeah,
how soon do you need to arrive? Like,
yeah.
Who is it for? What's the intention for the gift? Like, I love asking, like, do you expect them to use it every day, or do you expect them to store it somewhere?
Yeah.
Like they might not even know. It might be like, and they might be like, oh, I didn't think of that. If I give them a box, they're just going to put it in their closet. You know what? Let me think of a different gift. Like, oh, okay, you know what? A better gift is a kit. You give them a box and you put 4 things inside. They put the box away, but the 4 things they might use, like a tumbler, a journal, and guys, that's how sales works. I'm not selling the products. I'm making them experience the unboxing, right? And now they're thinking like, okay, even if they put the box away, I know they're going to use the tumbler every day. I know they're going to use the journal at church or school.
Yeah.
I know they're going to do these things. And now it becomes this experience and a walkthrough for your customer that's buying the kit. And then they're not buying on price. They're like, this is the gift I want to give, because the recipient is going to be like, oh, that's that. I will never forget that gift. And that's it.
Yeah. I think you're a master at also giving them ideas through your questioning and through your active listening. But keep that in mind. Like if you're working with a customer, asking like, hey, do you have any graduations coming up? It's graduation season, and put those ideas in their head. Like, hey, back to school season. You got any kids at home, or anyone that, you want to gift somebody that's going back to school? And just think about all those different occasions, which we do have a calendar on our website of all the gifting occasions, calendar for free on the MakerFlow website under the MakerFlow Pro section.
Yeah, that's a good plug. Yeah. If you're new here, and we have a lot of resources under MakerFlow Pro. The calendar is absolutely wicked, because it gives you not only the most popular holidays, but the in-between holidays and evergreen occasions that you can use to your advantage to go find people, leads, sales, or do whatever. So make sure you go to the MakerFlow section on makerflow.com and check those out. So
yeah, there's just like so many occasions that you just always forget them, and then it's like a week away, and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. But I was just at store I was at. I don't know. It was like, oh, Costco, and they got like Halloween stuff up already, and you're like, wow, like,
it's that season
Like,
already.
oh my god,
nuts.
it's like July, and they have Halloween up. So,
yeah.
Do you have any questions from the stadium crowd?
We do. We have a few questions. One, Sheila wants to know, what has been your favorite topic you guys have covered so far?
Oh man, all of them. It's like choosing your favorite child. Like, you can't.
Everyone has a favorite child. Come on, you know you do.
As a favorite child, they do.
I think it's always like the next one is like our favorite. So it's like right now it's this one because like we just dove deep into it, created the worksheet. It's like this is our favorite topic right now.
But the next one,
And
is
then
so
the next
juicy.
one's going to be like our favorite because we just dove into that one. So
that next one is so juicy because as a business owner, like all your cost goes there. But like if you figure that out and reduce your cost, oh my god, the flywheel, like you're going like 1 billion miles an hour and you're just making. Yeah.
What other questions?
They also want to know, how do you get wholesale pricing versus retail? I put myself into a corner when my retail pricing is based on what I wanted to make, but it doesn't really give me room for wholesale pricing.
Yeah. So this is a very complex question, and if you're coming to the next level, Mark and I are going to be presenting on how to price your products. The first thing that I would recommend is focusing on figuring out what your shop rate is. If I were to put that, this is a very difficult topic, right? So with retailers and wholesale, you want to always keep them separate. Don't show the pricing to each other, right? With retailers, unfortunately, with pricing, you can do a tiered pricing, but I would recommend researching what is keystoning. Okay, so you want to first have an MSR price, understand what keystoning or keystone pricing is for retail, and make your tiers based on keystoning. The MSRP price for your product is really going to help you with the keystoning purpose. Now, for bulk and wholesale, what really matters is not as much MSRP price, but for bulk and wholesale, what really matters is your shop rate. The shop rate and how fast you can get orders done is where it matters, because with bulk and wholesale, you're now, you're competing a little bit with others, but at the same time, if you have the right product mix and you know your shop rate, your pricing can be, you could set your pricing right and make the sale correctly. But understanding your shop rate is very important. And if I were to put shop rate in one or two sentences, you calculate your shop rate strictly on how many machine working hours you have per week or per month. So that means if you have 4 machines, I always calculate that you would run the machine 40 hours a week. You have 160 working machine hours. And what you have to do is you have to figure out how much money you can make or want to make based on those hours you have available. You have a limited amount of machine hours, right? You can't have more than how much the machine can produce. So there's a whole thing with that. It's a little bit difficult, but if you truly want to get into wholesale, if you truly want to get into like a discounted tiered pricing and do it properly, you have to understand how your shop runs, how many hours you have to run the shop, and how many machine hours you have to run it. And to give you a very good example of this, Mark, we were, at one point, we've talked about this multiple times. We were running, 4,000 or 5,000 tumblers a day. And in order to do that kind of tiered volume, and we only had 4 or 5 or 6 machines. I can't remember, 6 machines, I think.
Got up to 6.
It got up to 6 with a double shift and 5 people. We were able to handle that. So really understanding what machines you have, how long does production take, and the pricing. We were quoting, I think, our vendor $13.50 like years ago, $13.50 including shipping and the cost of the product, and we that was the most money we ever made. So understanding your production, understanding your machine, understanding your shop time, shop rate, it's super important. Now, it's very difficult to do that in 2 or 3 minutes, and this is way longer than 2 sentences, but I'm sure we'll do a podcast probably maybe in a couple of months about shop rate. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll have a whole how to price podcast.
Yeah, now you can't even ship a package for $12.
Yeah, now it's a whole different story. Whole different story.
I mean, we could have our own podcast just on pricing, but yeah great. Anything else, Sam?
Let's see. I think we have one more. Okay, so when somebody wants my products, I do sublimated things so that they are really personalized. I always ask them if they like what I've done up for them. So like the follow-up. Would you guys recommend that as a good kind of point of contact?
Yeah, actually, we're gonna get into like some of that stuff later on in this podcast, so stay tuned.
Yeah. And the answer really is like, yeah, because the answer is yeah, because we're always looking for feedback. Always. Even on podcasts, we're asking you guys, what do you guys think? How do you guys think it went? Things like that. So always ask, not a problem. Yeah.
And then last one, Mick asked, I do a lot of work, as much as 50% of my business, with nonprofit organizations. Do you approach them like you would as a wholesaler, or would you do it differently?
Well, I guess it kind of depends what they're buying and how many they're buying. But at the end of the day, nonprofits, I charge them the same price. They have accountings and they have the same types of. It's just a tax classification for that. They're a business, but they're just a nonprofit business. So it doesn't mean you have to discount your products because they're a nonprofit. Now, because they're a nonprofit, they might have tax exemptions where you don't have to charge them taxes. So I would definitely check with them and say, hey, because you're a nonprofit, we can waive the taxes as long as you provide me the appropriate documentation. But as far as the prices go, I would stick to your normal prices.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And that's a really good question, because I think a lot of people struggle with that is, hey, it's a nonprofit. What do I do? Well, if nonprofit is your primary business, then, keep in mind that if it is your business, then you have to make a profit, right? And so you kind of don't have an option, because it's either you give a good service at a price that you can stay in business so you can help the nonprofit, because if you work yourself without a profit, you won't exist in the future. So you're essentially it's one of those things where, when you're in the airplane and the oxygen mask falls, like, you got to put it on yourself first, right? Before you put it on the next person. And it's kind of that philosophy. But I agree with you, Mark. Make sure that you have your tax exemption stuff figured out. That way, when a nonprofit comes, you're not charging them tax. That's, I think, the most important part.
At the end of the day, you are a for-profit, so let's make sure that you're profitable.
Correct.
Otherwise, you become a nonprofit and out of business.
Correct. And Mark and I do have our own nonprofit, and not a lot of people know that. And yes, we do things at the nonprofit that are not profitable. However, we do have a for-profit that is profitable, and our nonprofit is meant to not be profitable. So that's a whole different thing. If your business is to service nonprofits, though, you have to be profitable.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Well, let's move on. Guys, again, a little highlight on how to get the worksheet. DM us the word "get sales" on Instagram or Facebook, and we will send you the sales worksheet that we're doing. So thank you, everyone, for being here and following along. And number 2, part 2, guys, we're on the third page, technically, of the worksheet. This is about selling on value instead of price. I know, John, you were hot about this one, but really, price is only important when the value is not obvious.
Done.
Next.
Done. Some of these titles are bangers.
When you have customers that are just, wanting to negotiate, and just get you down on price, that is always an opportunity for me. And I love those scenarios when the customer's like, I want it cheaper, or can I get a discount? I'll give them options, but I won't give it away cheaper for what they initially inquired for.
Yeah.
So for example, if somebody inquires for maybe 10 tumblers that are engraved and they're asking for a discount, I will say, well, I can do a couple things for you. I am happy to give you a discount if you increase your order to 25 tumblers. And now you've just increased your AOV, and you can accommodate that for just a little bit less margin because you're getting more quantity out of them. Or I'll give them another product option that might fall into their budget, which takes us back to the first part of understanding your customer, what their budget is and how much they can afford. Maybe they're inquiring about a 30-ounce tumbler. Mm-hmm. Well, I could do this small 12-ounce wine tumbler for a little bit less, and now you've given them options. So rather than just saying no on the price, you've built a value into ordering more or switching them to a different type of product altogether as well.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, if you're asking me, then you have the authority to ask back, right?
That's right.
If you're asking me to reduce my price, then I have the acceptance or approval to ask you for more volume. And I think that's totally fair. Unless you're discounting 50%, then don't do anything. Just say no, right? But if you're giving a slight discount, be like, hey, I can accommodate that because you're reducing this to give me a higher volume so I can make up a margin. I think that's totally fine. but don't reduce your price too much. You're gonna kick yourself in the foot. But I did like, I do like that saying that if the customer is there and they're focusing just on price, it's either one, you're not doing a good job on your branding, your marketing, meaning that they don't understand who you are and you haven't marketed the value of your products, right? And if all the conversation is price, right, then maybe that customer is not for you, and that customer is not worth it, and that's okay. There might be another business that might like that, and you let them go their way. If you're that business, then it's totally fine, but just make sure you're making your margin, right? If you want to negotiate prices that much, and that's totally fine. But I know that in the past, whenever customers ask me that, the reason why we've made MakerFlow products have so much value is so if somebody asks you, why is your journal so pricey? You can say, well, it's refillable. It comes with refill paper. You can engrave both the inside flaps. It's made out of this premium laserette with stitching. Not only that, but it comes in protective foam. Not only that, but it comes in a gift box, which I can also personalize. I can add a ribbon, and I can actually put the customer's name on there if you really want to. I can personalize the box. And not only that, I can make it into a gift set because I could put the journal on top. And on top of that, I can actually add a luggage tag and a passport wallet. And the best part about both of those is it looks like a gift set. So if you really want, I can add all this value and make a fantastic, I can make a fantastic gift set. And if you just talk about the value, the price won't even come. They're just gonna be like, wow, this sounds like, when can you get this made by? And there's so many times that happens at Next Level. Yeah. We'll be talking about products like, when is it coming out? When can I buy it? I'm like, wait, we missed like 3 steps. I'm like, you don't even know the price. And they're like, oh yeah, what is the price?
Yeah, they don't even care.
And they're so in the zone. They're already thinking about like, who am I going to sell this to? Because this is such an awesome product. And how am I going to sell this? And like, they're thinking about, where am I going to put it on my website? Where am I going to put it in their store? They're not even thinking about price. Drive the value as hard as you can. Drive your service value as hard as you can. And the more you do that, the less you'll talk about price. Unless you talk about price, the more opportunity you have to run a profitable business.
Yeah, you've sold your value well when they don't even ask about the price.
It happens so often.
You've done a good job about it. Yeah. What came to my mind, you were talking is like Temu, and your outfit kind of made me think about Temu.
You can't get off my outfit, man.
Mr.
Get me off camera. Get me off the damn camera.
I was like telling customers, like, no, I'm not a Temu outfitter. It's like if you know what you're getting when you buy from me, like if you want to go order and not know what you're going to get, like just go stay on Temu,
Yeah, and that's valid. Like if somebody comes to you and says I can get it for cheaper, don't entertain it. Don't even entertain it, because they're literally comparing you to a discount site. So how does that feel? Think about it. If someone comes to you and they're like, oh, I offer this product, and they're like, oh, I can get the same product at Temu for half the price. They just devalued by 50% or 40%. Yeah. I mean, that's a slap in the face, but they don't realize that. And don't have to be like, oh, perfect. You're getting a great deal on Temu. Please, go to Temu.
Just end that conversation with like your company USPs, your values of the product, and watch that customer come back to you and be like, okay, yeah,
there was a reason.
Yeah, I tried to order from that company that was cheaper and they didn't deliver and they weren't on time, and now I'm scrambling and now I need these done in 1 day. Happens all the time.
Yeah. Actually, in the past, I mean, there's so many. I could think of that decanter order. I remember the order for NBA. I think that was the most glaring order. It was the Utah Jazz. You were working on 150 decanters. That's like a long time ago. Yeah. And you worked with them for like a month.
Oh man, I made some before we even had the sell sheets. I made like these great like mock-ups, these entire sell sheets of everything, and had phone calls with him. I was like closing the deal on this massive order a long time ago, and then it like kind of went crickets and stuff, and I kept following up with him. I was persistent.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting back in touch with me, and he said he ordered from somebody else and he regretted that decision. And he wished he would have ordered with me, because they were able just to save a little bit of money, but the value of the product and the quality of the product was not there, and they were kind of regretting it.
Yeah. So the lesson to be learned is it's not his fault. At some level, it was yours too, because you didn't drive the value.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is where the reality of sales comes in. If you're honest with yourself and you can pinpoint these things, you become a better salesman. And not a salesman, but a better, I hate saying that. You become you develop better relationships,
Yeah.
right? To eventually make a better sale.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Well, let's get into the first question here, and this is just some ideating for everyone that's following on the worksheet. The first question here is, what makes your product worth choosing? So there's just a bunch of check boxes on here that you can really just go through these check boxes and see which ones of these really resonate with you, your branding, and your company. So maybe your products are worth choosing because they're higher quality, right? Maybe it has a better craftsmanship due to the type of equipment that you have. Because maybe your competitor is sitting there with a D1 Pro, this little something that is very beginnerish, but you've got an Epilogue $40,000 laser machine. Okay, your quality of engraving, your speed of things might be much greater. So that might be an awesome selling point of your
faster
products.
service, yeah, better engraving,
allows
quality.
you to go faster.
Yeah.
What other ideas on here? A premium experience. Like really sit down and think about what experience you're going to offer to your customers. You talked a lot about kitting and packaging and really going above and beyond to make it more than just one single item. So that goes into your experience and your communication and your follow through with customers. Maybe it's the gift packaging. And, we're big on the gift packaging here at MakerFlow, and we love to see our makers use that as one of their biggest USPs, because it's really hard to find that kind of gift packaging. And when you do, or try to put it together like by bits and pieces, it gets really expensive.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things we pride ourselves in is we give you the gift packaging, so it's all there ready to go. And so use that as one of your, product values and make it worthwhile for somebody to choose you over somebody else because it comes with gift packaging.
Yeah. And honestly, the way we do these sheets, if you look at part one, right? The part one is like ask and understand your customer. Then you connect the values that you provide to that ask. So, and that's what I was essentially doing before. I had all these lists of values that I can provide based on what you need. And that's what you essentially, when you do that, when you solve their problem with the values you provide, they feel that connection to you, that, wow, this is my person to buy from. There's no doubt about it. Right. And that's essentially what we're trying to get you guys to connect the dots. And that's how we want you guys to do sales.
Yeah. And the last two on there were just more design choices and design proofs. So a lot of times you might have a better design eye than other makers. And you've got a lot more cooler options to choose from. Surprisingly or not, people are looking for something innovative, not only in just the product, but also the designs that you're offering. And then maybe you're offering a digital proof versus somebody else that's not offering a digital proof. That could be the simple reason of, giving your customer peace of mind that they know what they're going to order is what they're going to get, because you do offer design proofs. So those are just some ideas for everyone to think about.
Yeah. So moving on to the next part, I was kind of confused when I was writing about this. I know you made this worksheet and I was answering the right part, but then when I understood it, I was like, okay, this is good. So go over this with everyone real quick. So you have this sentence. This is like one of those old games we used to play in high school where it had the sentence and the fill in the blanks. But it says, my customer is not only paying for blank, they're also paying for blank. And I love that, because when you first read that, it's like, oh, what are they paying for? And then I really started thinking like, yeah, what are they actually paying for?
Yeah.
And I took a lot of time on this question for MakerFlow.
I mean, it's like one of those questions like in school when you're watching like the movie and your teacher gives you like fill in the blank and you're like sitting there like waiting for the answer, and then you miss it and you're like, crap, what was the answer? But really, I mean, this one, my customer is not only paying for, let's say, a tumbler, they're also paying for a really quality engraving, a speedy service, a company that gives back to veterans. Those are three easy ones.
Yeah. Local engraving. Yeah.
Fast delivery. Like tie in some of these options up above and whatever else comes to your mind on what else they're paying for. And that's really what this question is.
Yeah. This really gave me a lot of pride in like what we were doing and what we were selling as MakerFlow. I'm like, what is our customer paying for? It's not a blank. That's like almost the last thing that I would really talk about. But at the forefront, it's like, what are they paying for? But what are they actually paying for, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really, yeah. So take some time on this one. Really understand your business and ask yourself, what your customer is paying for, and it'll give you a little bit more confidence and like, oh, this is what I offer and this is what I'm selling. Yeah. It's more than just a product. Yeah.
Cool. The next question on part 2 of the worksheet, it says, what value does your customer receive after buying? So once you get the sale,
it's not over.
Yeah, it's not over. Like what are they going to get after the sale? And some ideas here are maybe it comes with care instructions of whatever you're selling. That's something that you're providing after the purchase as well. That just gives them, like you said, peace of mind that they'll know how to care for that item for it to last a very long time.
Yeah. One quick fun thing about that is you can actually give them a QR code to scan and give them their email, and then you'll send the care instruction at a later time through email. So then you're also collecting their email, so you can even do marketing or email them at a later time. So just a quick tip on that one. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, support and troubleshooting after delivery. So being able to connect with your customers, stay in touch, getting either their phone number, their email, and just really providing support. Or if anything comes up,
Yeah.
maybe something breaks, damages, they want another one, or they have a question on something, just being there to support after the purchase. Easy reordering. I love this one. And saved artwork. So if you do a custom order, you should definitely tell your customer, hey, I'm going to keep your artwork on file for any future occasion you need. There won't be any additional setup. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And so just let me know when you need more. There's no additional cost. And that just makes the customer feel like, oh, wow, they're going to actually create a folder for me, and I'm going to be on record with this company. So whenever I need something, it's like lickety split.
Yeah.
And so be sure to communicate that to your customers. If you're saving something on file for them, it puts them at ease and peace of mind that they can reorder quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love that. I think a lot of makers miss on that, and they don't organize. But that's a great way to get, especially corporate customers and business customers. And especially if you charge a setup fee, just say that, hey, this is a setup fee. I have your thing on file. Like, come back next time. There's no setup fee. I have everything ready. Ease of ordering. Yeah.
Cool. So guys, once again, at the bottom of the part 2, there is a insider sales tip. And so this one I kind of like, because a lot of times people ask you, oh, how much is this? And instead of saying, oh, this tumbler is $38, you could say something like, well, your $38 includes a premium insulated tumbler, custom engraving, design setup, a proof that's sent to you, gift ready packaging for you and the person you're giving it to, and also the personal support of me along the way. So that just totally changed the way you're answering that question. When somebody asks you, how much is this? Don't just tell them the price. Be sure to tell them all the value that you have built into that price to get that conversion.
And honestly, when you read that, it seems a little disingenuous, but you have to believe it. When you believe it, it sounds way better. So if you just say it to say it, it won't make sense. But you have to believe it. Like, this is what I do. And that's why that question above, the second question, my customer is not only paying for a high mark, they're paying for this. That's important. Think about that, because that is what they're paying for. Those items is what goes in that sentence, just as a pro tip.
Yeah. I think even at trade shows, when people ask us like how much a product is, I think I just naturally I just go over all the value of the product before I even tell them the price. I just tell them the price at the end.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, charcuterie board. Oh yeah, it comes in like a gift box. You get all these tools, this and that. It's made of premium marble and acacia wood. And yeah, they're like $35.
Yeah, because when they're coming up to you, it's either one of two things. They think it's just a charcuterie board, or they're comparing it to something they've seen online.
Yeah.
And even though the box with the foam and everything is in front of them, they're not seeing it. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll be like, oh, it comes with this, and they'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And it's like, yeah, it's right here. It's in front of you, but it doesn't click because they've never seen it, right? So you got to drive that value, and you got to market. So branding, market that. Yeah. Branding and marketing, very important.
So the Maker Flow lesson learned on this one, I'll have you kind of elaborate on it, but because we've ran into this one personally ourselves over the last few years of running Maker Flow, is discounting is not a substitute for value. So don't be confused of giving your customer value by discounting your products. That is not value, because that'll get you into a world of trouble and out of business.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, discounting is just discounting your value.
Yeah.
It's quite the reverse. So you're basically just saying you're not worth it. And that's how I look at it. So if we keep discounting Maker Flow products, on the regular, which we don't discount, we'll give like first time customer offers and things like that. But we usually will never discount, we never discount.
We have just like
just
our
bulk tier.
Yeah,
discounts.
just bulk discounts.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah.
But not like, hey, I have a bulk discount. Let me mark it off another 20% off for whatever reason.
The only time we do that is when we're trying to close something out to
Right.
make room for something else. So if something's been discontinued, or you have overstock, or
right.
something sitting there for a while. Then
But we don't do it to sell on a daily basis. It's not like, oh, we need to sell more, we need to discount, because we do believe that, the products we come out with, which isn't a catalog of 5 million SKUs, it's a limited SKU count, and each product and each piece of packaging, the shipping, the raw materials, the ideating, the designing. I mean, Mark and I deal with every single one of those decisions. There's no external hired person that does that. We take a lot of pride in what we put out, and we can also tell on how much people enjoy, because when we close out a product, there's a lot of upset team members and customers because they enjoy using those products, right? And we've closed down our UV resin, and there's a lot of upset customers and team members, and there will be more things that we're phasing out, and it just happens, but we spend a lot of time on that. There's a lot of value in that. I could talk about all day on how our glitter is better than any other glitter out there. I can talk all day on why our UV resin was better, because we went and we built out the formula. We tried multiple UV resins. We made sure it was the best UV resin in the market. And to this day, I do believe that we built a pretty solid formula with that UV resin, going back and forth with how much it yellows, with how well it cures, the time of curing, the full cure time, the way it's bottled, everything. Everything was done by us, and having that passion and believing in what you create, it will hurt you more when you go to discount it. So don't discount your stuff. If you're discounting your stuff, you're discounting yourself, and you don't believe in what you're selling. So either don't sell it or don't discount it.
Yeah. On the page it says discounting your prices will only attract customers who will leave for the next lowest price. And that's really the whole idea here, is that we want to build relationships, not only to get that customer to purchase, but to really have an everlasting customer that will purchase again and again. So make sure you're not discounting it, because that customer is just going to leave you for the next lowest price they can find. And that's kind of how you've trained them. And so it's technically your fault. So make sure you don't do that.
Yeah, and guys, just so you guys know, we know all these things because we've done them.
Yeah.
So we're not just yelling at you here because we feel that we're better than you. It's just because we have done all of these things. We have discounted. Last year, Marc and I lost $2 million because we discounted all the way to the bottom, and we've learned our lesson. And the wound is still pretty damn fresh. So. This is all by experience, and all this stuff is not ChatGPT. Just to be clear,
personal experience.
Before
we get on to the next part 3, any of our live listeners have any questions for us?
We do have some questions. I will say there's a few people who I think didn't know that UV resin was discontinued, so they're very sad. So am I, guys. Don't worry. Laser Focus Promotion said, "Remind us what Keystone pricing is."
So Keystone pricing, from way back when, it's been a while since I've been in retail, but Keystone pricing basically works in a 50% margin. So if you're going to a retailer and you're giving them pricing, let's say if you give them an MSRP pricing of $40, they're expecting their cost to be around like $20 to $23, $24. They want to almost double up every time. So with Keystone pricing, you just, whatever your MSRP price is, just keep, every time there's a new person, you just keep cutting 50%. So what you want to essentially do is, if you're selling MSRP for 50%, you want to sell, to the retailer at 25, and you want to make sure your cost basis is at around $12.50 or so. And that's basically I think that's
you put a lot of numbers there. You lost me.
Yeah. So basically, like if your MSRP price, like if you're going to a retailer, like a souvenir shop,
you're selling into somebody that's going to be reselling your products.
Correct.
Yeah.
You just want to double. So it's your cost. You want to double that. That's what you're going to make. And then you're going to give it to a retailer, and they'll double it, and that's what they'll put for sale. But you can go read more on keystoning. I think over the years, keystoning might have changed a little bit. Margins may have changed a little bit. So you can go and read about it. But essentially, it's just a pricing strategy for retailers and what to understand. So like if you're going out to like a souvenir shop anywhere, and if you see the price, like a magnet, $7.99, they probably got it wholesale landed cost for around $4. And so like Marc and I automatically, when we walk in somewhere, we know like that's their cost basis.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So next question, and this was actually asked twice. When are the portfolios coming out? Please share.
We decided not to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Production's been canceled. Yeah. We don't have a release date. Hopefully, middle of quarter 4 for the potential release of that. So they're entering production, and when we have a better idea of when those are arriving, we'll definitely let you guys know.
Yeah, super excited for those. Yeah.
Awesome. And then last question for now. I've gotten people to ask for other things when I include them as a freebie, like magnets or koozies. They'll reach back out and say, "Hey, can I get some of those koozies?" Do you guys think that's a good idea? Like throwing some free samples their way?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
1,000%. Are you depending on the type of customer?
Well, if they're asking for it, are they asking because they're a business, or they just know that you'll always throw in a freebie?
No, I think what she means is she gives them a freebie and then later on they reach out like, hey, can I get some of those koozies? Like order them.
Oh, then yeah, if that's working for you, then absolutely. Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with business clients, and there's opportunities to get bigger orders, repeat orders, get them on a regular ordering cycle, or maybe there's opportunity for their next event. Yeah, absolutely. Send them a couple of different things that you have that don't cost you an arm and a leg to make a sample of, and yeah, send them a free sample.
Yeah, I would say the conversion rate on sending physical samples is massive every time. Even in cold sales, it's huge. When I was selling knives before any business I had, I used to actually try to go drop off a knife at a customer's house and be like, hey, use it, right? And the knives were literally like $150. I'm talking about like 20 years ago. That's a lot of money for one knife, right? And even today, that's a lot of money for one knife. And this was 20 years ago. And I used to be like, hey, I sell these knives. Before I even get on and do sales with you, let me just drop one knife off and just use it for a day. You're not going to break it. I know you're not. These are versatile knives. Just use it. It'll change your life, right? It'll be so different. And the amount of conversions I used to get, I used to go and give one knife for someone to use for one day. And I used to sell a $900 knife set, which is bonkers now that I think about it, because I think even to this day, a $900 knife set is a lot. And I was doing that as a top salesman 20 years ago at the age of 19.
Yeah. You drop off one knife, let them use it, and you take it back?
Yeah.
Indian giver.
And they go to their own.
Just a team move.
Yeah. No, it was the opposite. It was a $150 knife.
I know.
Yeah, but it's incredible because they use that knife for a day, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they went to their knives, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, hold on.
It's like the mattress company. They send you the mattress, and then you're like, you can send it back, and
you ain't sending it.
Yeah, sleep on it for free for 60 days.
Yeah, because they tell you got to put it back in the same plastic wrap. And
Yeah,
that ain't happening.
it's impossible to send it back. Like, nope, it just exploded on you when you opened it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Awesome. We good to move on? All right, guys. Once again, if you're needing access to the worksheet that John and I are working off of, DM us the word Get Sales on Instagram or Facebook. And this is absolutely free to help you grow your business. So go over to our social media and grab that. So part 3, this one is very important for us, and we're constantly working on this one, is it's all about making the buying process easy and removing any and all roadblocks for your customers. Whew.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I think we should have done a maybe a 4th podcast just about the rest of this, because this is somewhere that I think a lot of makers just drop the ball hard. Just absolutely don't understand the roadblocks. They feel like just take craft shows and trade shows and they go to these craft shows, and I'm not sure how many folks really understand. I think that's more what it is. They don't see the roadblocks and they don't ask the questions.
Yeah, you're right. I was just thinking that. Like, well, how do you know what the frictions are? Yeah. Like, when do you know there's friction? And like, how am I supposed to? Someone's supposed to tell me about it, or like, when do you find out about it?
Yeah, and I really learned about that. We were at a Pinners conference, and there were a couple of ladies, and I remember this, and I was just kind of walking by their booth, and like, it was so funny because I walked by, and like, you know how you get that awkward eye connection?
Yeah.
And you're kind of just looking, and like, they were sitting in the back, and they kind of looked bored, and they were just kind of looking, and our eyes connected, and I kind of didn't know what to say. It was so awkward. And I was just like, hey. And she was like, hey. And she goes, oh, I'm just on my phone. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was just like, so like, okay, what do you guys do? And she started going, and she's like, yeah, it's been so slow. And you know, us being us, where our mind starts going, and she was just like, yeah, I wish the show was better. I'm like, well, your show would be better, but you were in the back sitting on your phone. Like, we had an awkward connection. I still walked in, you know. But like, imagine how many awkward connections there are, and how many people are just walking by. And we kind of talked about it, and I'm like, hey, just redo your booth, and you guys cannot be sitting.
Yeah.
You cannot be sitting. Like, do not sit in your booth.
You cannot expect customers to walk up and buy.
Right. And now, if you have a disability, I understand. Like, you know, it can't be for anyone. But if that's the case, be in the front, right? But if you can stand for long hours, or if you can't, then grab a seat, be at the forefront where people can come and approach you and feel comfortable. No one's gonna walk into your house to talk to you, right? You have to be at the door to be able to talk to somebody. So, but yeah, friction.
You know, a lot of like frictions could also be in the terms of like, maybe you're charging an extra charge for something. Maybe it's an extra rush processing, or maybe it's like an artwork setup fee. And these are little friction things that you might not think it's a big deal, but to your customer it is. So instead of nickeling and diming your customers, maybe you just price that in to your quote to begin with, and don't itemize everything down to the penny, because that could be a friction item that your customer's like, oh my God, they're charging me like $50 to order, all these tumblers, a rush processing fee, and another 25 for design setup fee. Like, good Lord, it's like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. That could be a friction one.
Yeah. I mean, and the way that becomes friction is your pricing might actually be competitive, but because your customer doesn't understand your pricing, in their mind, it's more expensive than the cheaper thing. Meaning you're cheap, but like they're like, oh my God, they're gonna price like $3 a thing for pricing or per unit. Their setup charge is gonna be this, and now they start making up prices where you would have been at $14. In their head, you're at 18, and it's because your pricing structure is not clear. So having clarity is super important, and that's why at Makerflow, we have flat rate. We really simplified. It's like, hey, if it's under 100, it's $15.99. If it's over 100, it's free.
Yeah.
That you can remember. Now you know that if you spend over 100, it's free shipping, and what it is on the site is what you're going to get, right? It's simplified.
Reduce the surprises, reduce the friction. It'll build trust, and it'll increase your conversions.
Yeah, and you get consistent in the conversions. That's a big one. Yeah.
So the first part we have on the part 3 is it's just kind of getting an idea of where you're currently standing at on the online marketplace, and where can customers buy from you, and are you where you need to be and where your customers expect you to be? Right? Because there might be friction in that. Maybe a customer is expecting you to be on your own website, but you don't even have a website. Well, that could be a huge friction thing right there, because they're like, wait a second, is this company legit? Like, they don't even have a website, even like an informational website. I don't know about these guys. That could cause some friction and some pullback from customers.
Yeah. And just a bit of hard truth. I know, and things we say might not sit right with you guys, but we just try to be as honest as possible. I think in the maker community, in the groups, there's so many people that talk about, hey, is this a scammer? Am I getting scammed? Right. And I think there's so much of that, and we know like what scamming looks like. And these people don't have websites. They don't have updated Facebook pages. Their personal profiles aren't filled out. They just recently joined. They only ask for like, I only do Zelle, or you have to send me the product first and I'll pay you later, and all these things. We know the pain points, so make sure that your business Facebook profile is filled out to the hilt. Make sure that you have a website. Even if your website is not optimized and set up for selling, at least have an about us. Have some pictures from your shop. Even if it's your house and your garage, tell a story on your website, because people are looking for it. And if people don't go on your website and they ask ChatGPT, or if they just Google it, and if you have a little bit of information, it will serve that about you. So give yourself the opportunity to be served where people want you to see, where people are searching, and give these LLMs or whatever search algorithms to find you and serve your services, who you are, your story to them. That way they can feel more confident about you, and it doesn't feel like a scam, because they won't order you if they feel like that's a roadblock and it's a scam, or like, who is this person? Do they know what they're doing? Like, give them that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. The next question on the part 3 is, can customers quickly find the following information? And so this list are just some ideas of questions that your customers may have when they're looking at your products. And I love this one, especially for Makerflow. We have a policy with our customer service team, is that if there's questions coming in from our customers and that information is not on our website, then we need to get it on there. There is no reason that our customer service team can't answer questions by just simply visiting our website, because the information should be there. The dimensions of the product should be there. The dimensions of ordering an entire case should be there. The weights should also be there. The color options should also be there. And so whenever you're getting these questions, especially ones that are repetitive, make sure that they're on your product pages, they're on your listings, they're on your sell sheets, because it'll just continue to build that trust. It'll reduce the friction and the questions that your customers are giving you, and it'll allow you to make the sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so important.
Yeah. So other ideas on there is like, we talked about this, having your production time and your shipping time on there. Also, like, what's your return policy? What's your cancellation policy? Maybe a customer ordered and then they want to cancel, the next day, and it's like, we already got this into production, and then they're going to come back at you and say, well, there's nowhere here on your website or anything that had a cancellation policy. Like, no, I'm not paying for it, or I want my money back. So make sure you're clear and upfront with those things. Obviously, contact information, like, you got to have all that information on your website, on your social media, so people can call you if you're taking orders by phone or email you if you take orders by emails. And then also payment options. I love this one. A lot of customers, especially with the bulk orders, they want to know how they can pay, right? Can they use like a Sezzle or an Afterpay? Can they flex payments? Do you have the credit card processing set up for your business? Or maybe you take Zelle or Cash App or Venmo and other opportunities that are becoming more and more popular in today's world that you can simply just transfer money. So make sure you're clear on showcasing all the payment options you have as well to reduce friction.
Yeah, I think the payment option one is kind of it's crazily, to me. It's a wild thing. There's so many people that I know that they don't have credit card processing, and they want to get into B2B. And when you're getting into the B2B space, it is important to have credit card processing. Businesses love to pay via credit card. So if you want that $2,000, $3,000 order, $4,000 wholesale order, bulk order, you're either gonna give them terms and they pay by check, ACH, or credit card. So credit card is a big part of getting B2B orders, and a lot of credit card and businesses, they want to pay by card. And not only that, if you're dealing with education, if you're dealing with schools, or even if you're dealing with corporations, they have approved limits up to a certain amount. So they could spend $2,000 on a swing through a credit card. And if you don't have a credit card, they cannot Cash App you. It's just not possible. So if you're trying to go for that B2B, make sure you have credit card as an option. Make sure you see if ACH is available through your bank, and if you can set that up. Those two will really help you get those B2B orders. And when I'm talking about B2B orders, I'm talking about $1,500 to $2,000 or more. When we got the order for Love's gas station, I think that was like $60,000 or $70,000. Yeah, that was all wire transfer.
And they wanted payment terms, and we're like, oh, we're just a small business. I can't float any payment terms.
Yeah, they wanted like 120, meaning that they get the product and then they pay us 120 days down the road, right? And we're like, yeah, we're not going to do that. That's not possible. You can't afford that. And we were like 24 years old or 23 years old. We don't have that kind of money. But these things are important as your business matures and you're going more to B2B and things like that. You learn these things and you start implementing them. So yeah, these things are definitely important. One quick trick, if you use ChatGPT, you can always play devil's advocate with ChatGPT and ask it, like, if I was in Phoenix, Arizona, who would be the number one engraving company you would recommend? And then you can ask it, why didn't you pick me? What are the holes that you saw in my business and why you didn't pick me? And have it tell you what the roadblocks are and start fixing them.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great stuff. The next question is, what questions require too many back and forth messages with your customers? What are those types of questions where you're trying to answer them for your customers, and then they're following up with another question, you're trying to answer it, and another question? That just shows that there's not enough clarity in your process and your products and what you're providing. And what we have a policy at MakerFlow is when we run into that kind of situation, what we must do is document it and create a video, and for us to get that onto either social media, onto YouTube, into our training documents that we can save and share that link with customers in the future. So keep that in mind. If there's things that are going back and forth, they're slowing down your customer's buying decision, make sure you just sit down, make a video of how something works. How do you twist the handle on and then put the lid back on and then put the straw in? And how do you take it back apart, for example? Document that on a video. Then you just answered that for the next customer and put it on your website. So it just makes everything much more efficient and closes those gaps and reduces friction.
Yeah, I think in our industry, like what you're kind of talking about, reducing friction, it's exciting that we can do so many things. And I think we end up giving way too many options, right? I think that's one friction. It's like someone's there to buy it, but then you make them pick 17 different things, and at the end they're like, this is exhausting.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I picked. Like there's like, pick this color, pick that color, pick this design, pick this font. What's the date, what's the name, last name, middle name, does it go in the middle? It's like, holy cannoli, like it gets convoluted. And then how do you put that on a website? How do you put that on Etsy? Etsy only gives you 3 or 4 variants now. Yeah. I can't remember. It's like, I haven't been on Etsy in a while, but it's like 3 variants or 4 variants. I think before, when we started on Etsy way back when, I think it was only like 1 variant. Yeah. I think now they're up to like 4 variants. Or something. They get decision fatigue is really what happens. Decision fatigue, and really they just end up bouncing from your website or from converting from you because it's too much choices to make. And I think like even Yeti at one time had like, you go to personalize a Tumblr on Yeti, they had like this whole like library of graphics, and you're like, there's thousands of designs to choose from. Pick? And I just fell off. I'm like, no, like I don't even know where to start, where to begin, and how to close this thing. So
I'm going to jump off. I didn't convert for that.
Yeah, that's very
So
important.
don't make it overwhelming.
Don't make it overwhelming. Yeah.
The last question on part 3 is what could be clarified, automated, and simplified. So kind of going back to the question there is what can you automate so that you're answering questions before they're even asked, right? Think about that. If you have something coming time and time again, the same customer's asking it, well, automate that in maybe your email flow or on your website or in your communication to your customers so that you can simplify that information. So one of our sales tips, I like this sales tip at the bottom that we have, is really to go through your own buying process. And I think you mentioned this earlier in the podcast. So if you sell on Etsy, then go log out of your account and go in as a buyer and try to purchase your own product, right? Go on your website, go through the steps and see what your customer sees, because there might be a lot of potholes in your buying process that you're losing conversion and people are dropping off that you're not seeing. So write down every confusing step that you come across, document that. Any missing answer that might come to your mind when ordering that product. I always like to try to just wipe my mind clear of every preconceived notion that I already know about our products. And I like to sit there in the mindset of somebody brand new to my brand, to my products, and say, okay, what kind of question am I going to have on this product if I'm brand new? Because you already have so much knowledge built into your brain that you automatically know. So you just need to think a little bit differently and just tweak your mindset from the customer's perspective to try to find those potholes in your buying process.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. Good. And then there's a Maker Flow lesson learned at the bottom of that one. Before we move on to the last section and the last part, do we have any questions from the audience?
We have a couple. Let me see real quick for you. One, someone said that they use Facebook and Instagram and they get likes and so on, but it doesn't translate to sales or foot traffic. What would you guys recommend for that?
When you say that, you have to evaluate what kind of content you're putting out and what the purpose of that content is. So if you're doing that, I mean, they're appreciating it, but you're not solving the problem with the content you're putting out. And so you have to figure out whether your channel is better off just for marketing. You have to see if you want to add a CTA, which is a call to action on your post for them to do something. Just because you put something out there, it doesn't mean that what you're thinking it's going to do, it's what's going to happen. And this happens with us a lot too. We're doing these podcasts, but might only get 189 views. And so you'll notice every podcast, we're optimizing something. We're making sure that something is happening. We found out that in the beginning of our podcast that people didn't know if we were going live or not. So 5 minutes before, we have the map going. That way, that, the live is happening. It's 5 minutes before. So everything we do, post after post, it relates to something. Now, if you're on social media and you know that people are watching, a like means an interaction, means that someone's watching. If you're getting the views, right, then what I would say is try to make better content, more optimized content to get more views. After that, make sure you have a very clear call to action, or you have a purpose to the video that's leading them to something else, right? Whether it's your website, whether it's a free resource or whatever it is, and make sure that they're following those actions. So one thing, for example, that we make you do is we DM, right? We say DM for this. It's because we know that if we just post something, no one's going to do it. But when we say DM for this resource, we have so many people going to the DMs and they're connecting with us, contacting us, and they're taking a step, and that's a CTA. For us, the sale is not instant, meaning we post and we get a sale. The sale is a journey, and we're creating a relationship with all our customers and potential and future clients. So don't treat the post as I'm going to post and I'm going to sell it. Treat it as a journey and a connection until you get the sale. So social media is not, it's very difficult to answer, with posts and stuff. It's very difficult to answer in 2 minutes. It's a whole dissection that's needed, but I would just say keep at it and keep optimizing. And the goal is to get more views. Once you get more views, you want to get more clicks. Once you get more clicks, then you want to get more conversions. Meaning that they're going to your website. When you get that, you want to see if that translates to transactions. You keep optimizing on the way.
All right. Awesome. Well, let's dive into part 4 on the worksheet. Once again, DM us the word Get Sales on Instagram or Facebook to get the free Maker Flow Maker Sales worksheet, and we'll send it over to you. So part 4, John, is all about building relationships that create repeat customers. And so this is a big one because when you get the sale, you're not at the finish line.
No.
This is just the beginning of the relationship, and you're really at the starting line of that relationship. So
100%.
the first question we have here is, after somebody buys from you, what do you do? And I've got some ideas on there, but tell me, like, what does MakerFlow do after somebody buys from MakerFlow?
Yeah, I think one of the first things is, after you buy from MakerFlow, you get that follow-up email, you get that confirmation, but then we put you in a flow, right? And it's what it's called. If you're a first-time customer, you get into a first-time customer flow, so you can learn a little bit about MakerFlow and kind of follow our journey and learn who we are. That's very important to us. So that email that goes through is not a sale. It's not asking you to buy. It's just telling you who we are because you made the sale, right? We're trying to make that connection and try to build that relationship. If you've already made the sale, then you get a confirmation email, and you're just in our email list, and you're going to get a lot of resources. And the resource emails, which we know we send a lot of emails, but it is intentional. It is to make sure that you guys are learning on the way. A lot of folks in the making industry, we know this, they don't do continued education, right? So think about that. In every professional industry, there's something called continued education. We know a lot of makers don't have time for it. So we use our emails to keep servicing the continued education for you guys. Now, a lot of people think it's spam, and it's okay. You're more than welcome to unsubscribe, but we do our best where 75% of the emails we send out are for continued education. We spend a lot of time on that, and that's why I'm taking time to talk about it. Now, aside from that, there's a lot of things we do post-purchase.
Yeah.
When you get in our flow, we're targeting you in many different ways, and I'm not going to get into it because that's a whole another podcast. But yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things that we did back in the day is we would actually handwrite like a thank you card that we put in every order.
That was our grading business.
Yeah. So that was like one thing we did. So are you sending the thank you note out, whether that's digitally or an actual physical card? Are you following up with them to actually invite them to follow your business? Because that's how you can connect with them. That's how you can get them to follow your journey. I mean, I really can't dive on this enough of how important it is for you to get your customers' email or phone number, to stay in touch with them, to put them into the flows that you're talking about, to give them updates on the order, to give them ideas of future gifting occasions. So a lot of times when you have a customer at maybe in a trade show or a fair or whatever you're doing, you're selling out there, and you just don't even ask for their email or phone number, like, use that as part of the receipt process. Just assume that they are going to get the receipt and say, hey, what's your phone number for the receipt? I'll also be using that just to stay in touch with you on any future offers and new updates with my company.
Yeah, and I think with that, a lot of people feel like, oh, they're getting all this information to spam them. But do understand that if your intention is right, it does come through. So out of all the emails that we collect, we have like a 0.02% unsubscribe rate, which is like zero, right? Which is next to nothing. So I know that's a few people, which is totally fine. It's going to happen. Remember, not everyone is a customer, not everyone will like you, but 0.02% of the people, I'm okay with that. That means that 99.98% of the people are finding value or not seeing the email, which is okay. But when they do, I know it's driving value. So I'm okay with that. My intention's right in that, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. The next two questions on here are really good questions on the worksheet to build relationships, to get repeat customers. Is after buying, how do you want them to feel? And then the next reason that they may need me for is blank. So don't forget about that as you're building that relationship. Is like, okay, what's the conversations we had? What's the next possible occasion that they might need a gift from me? And write that down for each customer. Start creating that database. But after buying from you, how do you want your customers to feel when you deliver that product, when they open that box? What comes to your mind?
This section, when I was writing for MakerFlow, I wrote this within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly how I want you to feel. I want you to feel confident. When you come and buy a blank from MakerFlow, I want you to feel confident that your customer will love it. I want you to feel confident that you can personalize it fast, easily, and consistently. I want you to also be confident that you can be profitable with it. I want you to be also confident that when you provide this to your business as a wholesale order, it's going to basically make the business go like, oh, this is going to help us immensely. The quality of this product, the value of this product, when we distribute it to our clients or we distribute to our team members, it's going to they're going to be absolutely like, well, this is beautiful. This is awesome. I want to go back to you to order more. So I want you to have the confidence when you click buy now that this is the answer to my business. This is how I'm going to grow. And this is how I'm going to be profitable. And for that reason, I want you to come back and be confident that we got your back every time, unless we're sold out, which we're trying to do better about that. But the confidence is very important to me. The confidence that we have your back, right? And the confidence that you'll grow and you'll be profitable and you'll be successful in what you want to be. So that's very clear cut in our mind, and everything we do is driven for and by that. So
yeah, no, well said. Yeah, maybe you want your customer to feel relieved. Maybe that comes to your mind as a maker. Like, oh, I just want my customers to feel relieved that boom, I came through, they were taken care of. They know they can trust me on the next one. You know, maybe you want them to feel happily surprised. Maybe they open that box and they're like, oh my God, there's a lot more than I thought it was.
Absolutely.
You know, so maybe there's different emotions that may come to your mind, and just write those down on this document. And you can have more than one. You know, you can have different customer feelings that you want them to feel, but they should all intertwine together. And then the last part on here are just really some ideas of what could naturally bring a customer back into your ecosystem. So we've talked about the calendar that we have, the gifting and holiday calendar, and just write that down for these customers of what kind of customer was it? Was it a business that might have repeat orders? Were they ordering for a conference that comes around every year? Was it somebody that was with schools? So maybe they're in sports events and they're ordering for the team sports and stuff. So these are different things that can get you to get that customer to come back again, time and time again.
Yeah. And you're talking for an engraving customer, and I want you, if you're the engraving customer, the personalizing business, to have that confidence that I got your back on all this stuff. You want a birthday gift? We got it.
Yeah.
You know, you want a wedding gift? We got it. We got the best gift. We got that premium gift that, you know, when you put your beautiful design on it, that the bride's going to open it and she's going to tear up. And the first image that she gets of that charcuterie board is that it's sitting in that new home that she buys with her new husband. And they're going to spend time in that home and that home cooking with their future family together with that charcuterie board in the middle of the table with God's given food. Right. And that's the feeling that I want you to have when you're buying from me. Like, that's the whole experience that we're providing. Right. And that's what gets me excited.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Maker Flow lesson learned on this one is the first sale should lead to the next opportunity. So every time that we get a new customer on Maker Flow, it's exciting because it's like, okay, what's next? What is this customer's journey going to be? Because I don't want it to stop here. I want to make sure they keep purchasing from us. And that's why we've automated email flows. You can also automate text message, SMS flows with certain apps. So keep those in mind. Is how are you going to keep your customer engaged throughout the journey and get them to the next step in the journey, right? So continue to provide them support, continue to provide them education on your customer. You know, we have different emails set up just to educate them on what we're all about. Because once their first purchases, they don't, you know, you're just getting to know each other, right? It's like you just started dating. So you really want to nurture that relationship, and you really want to make it official, and you want to ask them out, right?
Yeah. No, this is all good. I just really love that this entire, you know, sales portion had just not like much to do about pricing and discounts.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure a lot of folks, you know, might have been like, oh, they're going to talk about selling or sales. It's going to have pricing and discounts. And honestly, like I really do believe that 90% of sales has nothing to do with the price. It really doesn't. Today we got offered a service that somebody was offering, and we were ready to just get the service before even knowing the price. Right. And the service wasn't $500. It was a lot more than that. Right. And we knew what the value of that service was because they drove it home. They provided stats. They provided case studies,
solutions.
They were like, this is what we could do for reviews. you. And they really laid the path out. Like, this is what's going to happen. And I mean, they showed us the future. They're like, this is what it could look like. You guys can be this, and you guys can do this, and you guys have to do less of this. That solves my problem. I have to spend less time, and I'm going to grow. Perfect. And we signed up before knowing the price. So, and when they told us the price, I thought it was cheap, but it wasn't. It was like,
I was like, John, what is there to think about? Let's do this. And
and it was the price of a car. And you know, and that's how that's done. Right. And so it's not like we're the best salesmen. It happens to us too, but this is where we learn as well. Right. They just did a brilliant job of showcasing who they were as a business and what they've done for others. And we're all in. So
absolutely.
Anyways.
All right. Anyways, let's get into, those were the four main parts. So now, guys, it really comes down to the part 5, which is your sales action plan. So I want to break this down on the sheet for you guys. Once again, if you're following along, we're on part 5, your sales action plan. And there's 4 steps to this part that really help you define your action plan and really answering the question, okay, John and Mark, what's next? You know, what do we do next? So the step 1 is really defining your sales experience and describing when customers are buying from you, and how do you want them to feel, and how do you want them to act on your services? So maybe you want customers to describe buying from you as helpful, or maybe it's a fast service, or you were professional or personal, or maybe you were funny. Like maybe there's different types of branding techniques that you want your customers to feel about your buying experience. Maybe it was premium. You went above and beyond. You gift packaged everything. You hand delivered it. These are a lot of great ideas to help define your experience, and just write down your new mindset and what it's going to be.
Yeah, this is super important. And you have, but the thing is, these are great things to write down, guys. It is. This is great. Doing the worksheet's great. You have to believe it. Just remember that. You have to believe it. Otherwise, you come out looking like a disingenuous business, right? So when you do this worksheet, make sure you truly believe it and you truly mean it. It's super, super important. You can't just fill out a worksheet and just follow it. You really, truly have to do it and believe it.
Yeah. The next step 2 is to clarify your value. So these answers to these questions should start becoming more clear and more clear to you as you've already gone through part 1, 2, 3, and 4 of this worksheet. So when it asks you, what are the top 3 reasons customers should choose you? Well, you should have some of those ideas already, because you've already answered the question of why are they not choosing you, right? So, okay, now that you've answered those questions, why should they choose you? And define that and write that down. And then the value that you want to communicate more clearly is blank. What are those hurdles? What are those struggles? What's tripping up your customers? What are those potholes on your website that you need to clarify and communicate more clearly to get the conversion from your customers?
Yeah, you're rolling. Yeah. Keep going.
Number 3 is remove. What's the one roadblock you're going to remove? What's your biggest, hairy, obnoxious obstacle that you just need to kick that can and get that off of your roadblock, and so your customers start converting?
Yeah, marketplaces for us. Good God. Marketplaces for us, to the point where we've banned off of Walmart like 3 times already.
Yeah.
It's such a hairy situation. So we know that, and we're trying to remove that roadblock. So
that's a messy buying process for us right now.
It's hugely messy. Yeah.
And then step 4 is add one post-purchase touch point to your journey. And I just gave you some ideas there. We've talked about other ones. So really just put pen to paper, guys, and write down what's that post-purchase journey that you're going to focus on to get that customer to be a repeat buyer.
Yeah. Now, one thing, like, this is a lot of information, and before we started this, Sam asked us, how long do you guys think you guys are going to go for? We said tops hour and a half, where I think we're about to hit over a 2-hour mark. So it's a lot of information. It's a lot to like compress. If you're going to rewatching this or rewatch it again, it's a lot. So keep in mind, these are just some ideas that we've jotted down. If you're using ChatGPT or Claude or whatever LLM you like, or Google, just post that. Put like post-purchase ideas. Get the ideas, or ask other people, or go to your favorite company that you like, that you're like, I'm actually absolutely hooked to this company. Follow them. Sign up for their newsletter. Sign up for every way that they can touch, that you become a touch point, and see what they're doing, and see if you can use some of those strategies to implement in your business, to get that same kind of loyalty that you have to that business. And if you can get that same loyalty from your customers to you. So
yeah, there's just 2 pages left. I just want to go over. The next page on the worksheet is really your 30-day sales commitment and your scorecard. So really, this is to hold you accountable on doing the tasks of this worksheet that it requires. And this is your autograph page. So sign this page, make the commitment to yourself that you're going to go over these items for the next 30 days, and really just give yourself a score at the end of the 30 days on each of these items to see if you completed it, how well you completed it, and if there's anything that still needs more work. And then the last page at the very end are really just pinpointing 10 lessons that are real MakerFlow examples and things that we learned along the way, and we learned the hard way. So hopefully you can learn from our mistakes and just scale your business that much more easier and better from our mistakes.
Yeah, you know what I love about this page? I was thinking about it. Once you sign this, turn it around, and on your refrigerator or in your shop, tape this on the wall. You'll always have the reminder of the 10 things, but you'll also have your signed confession or your signed agreement with yourself on what all you need to do. So you can keep this last page somewhere in your shop. That way it's a reminder to you that you need to follow this or follow some of these things in your business journey. So yeah.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Whew.
Any questions?
All right. Awesome. And no other questions from the audience. Well, that wraps up our podcast. This is our workshop podcast, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this podcast. And the last time I want to mention it is if you need the free worksheet, go ahead and DM us the word Get Sales on Instagram or Facebook. And also be sure to join us every Tuesday at 4:30 PST Phoenix time. We go live on YouTube. So make sure you follow us on YouTube because every Tuesday we are going live. We are dropping giveaways, or sometimes we drop a special offer on there. So if you're not joining, you're missing out on the lives. This upcoming Tuesday, we've got a special one where we're showing off some new upcoming products that have never been shown before. So make sure you connect with us. Feel free to comment on any of our posts and we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for everyone that stuck around for the whole 2 hours. I know it was a long one, but we're going to do our best to keep the next one shorter.
All right. Well, John and Mark signing off. Thank you for joining us and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.